Okay, I figured this out. We are now into construction season. Welcome to Arma Construction Ageddon here on St. Paul Street in St. Catharines. Listen, I have a new business idea and I want you to investigate this. I want to go into the black and orange construction cone business, okay? I want to make and market construction cones. That's all I want to do. We'll make a fortune. I know. Hey, oh, hi. Sorry about that. I was doing a business deal. Welcome to Season 6, Episode 6 of Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry. We are fueled by Gale's Gas Bars. We are supported by Sandra's Home Healthcare, as well as Ace Alignment and Verge Insurance and Mac Outpost. We are powered by Canada's premier streaming company, which is WeeStreem. And we are housed in this lovely Fiddler's Poorhouse at 149 St. Paul Street. Welcome to construction season number 3. Here. We have winter, then we have summer construction, spring construction, fall construction. And we got a few snow flurries. Things are happening. Okay. Come on in where it's a little bit quieter. Feel free, by the way, to come on down here. There is parking around here, believe it or not. Just because you see all of my new construction cones, I'm going to make a fortune. Okay. Couple of, been a lot of actually. I was going to say a couple, but there have been quite a few things happened over the last couple of weeks since we met with you last here on Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry. And there's stuff everybody's talking about, so we might as well talk about it as well. We're going to have the mom of a lad on that not quite a year ago now had a bicycle accident. He was unfortunately killed, and we're going to be chatting with her. And yeah, I know there's a couple of sad notes that we're talking about these days here in Niagara, but there are some positive ones and happy notes as well. So come on in about 30 seconds. We'll get this shindig kicked off. All right, thanks. Hey, how you doing? It always amazes me how quickly the weeks fly by. I remember when I was just a young lad, my father used to say to me, enjoy your time, because the older you get, the faster time gets. And I was always scratching my head, and I thought, how does time go faster? Because time is time. I was kind of trying to struggle with that concept of time going faster. Now that I'm a little bit on the older side, on the other side of the yard arm, as they say, I kind of get the whole concept. 2 weeks flies by in a hurry, but here we are once again, March the 26th already, 2025, and we do have a few snow flurries around Niagara. I don't think you're going to have to be shoveling anything, but here we are, Season 6, Episode 6 of Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry. First of all, first things first, we need you to do us a favor, if you don't mind. You're watching this on Facebook, you're watching this on Niagara 411, so I would love you to be able to just, hit that little refresh, that little circular arrow at the top. Hit refresh on that, and then you'll find us. You should find us. I got to do this again. Do. And then you see the sign there? Then you hit share, okay? And then when that comes up, you do share now, and poof, everybody you talk to is now talking with you and talking with us and sharing with us, and it helps all of us stay in touch with each other, which is what this show is all about. In Niagara, by Niagarans, for Niagarans, and we thank you for doing that, because it just, in geometrical proportions, it really helps to keep us all connected. So thank you for doing that. And thank you all the supporters of Niagara 411 for contributing to this show, as well as you do to Niagara 411. I want to make something clear, again, because sometimes, and I understand that it's a little bit foggy sometimes in the world of social platforms and social media and the complicated ways in which we communicate these days, is that it's sometimes a little bit difficult to keep things straight. Niagara 411 is a news and information site that is just run masterfully well by our pal Nick. But Niagara 411 is not us. That is a Facebook site which you share on, and we use information from that site, etc. And it's an arrangement that we have with Nick, because we use information from his site that comes from you and other sources as well. And then we put together this program called Niagara 411 Live with Sterry. It is the brainchild of Kevin Jack, who is the co-founder of WeeStreem, Canada's premier streaming service in Niagara. There's Kevin. Hey, Kev, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very well, Lee.
Kevin and his partner Brandon Scram are into probably 10 years now. Every time I say a year, he adds one. It's like, oh my gosh, it's, wow, 10 years now? He's been doing this. So the entities are connected in a way, but we are two very separate businesses. This program is ours, it's Kevin's and mine, and the Niagara 411 Facebook page is Nick's. But we have a really nice kind of symbiotic relationship together. So the two things are separate. If you want to contact Niagara 411 for something, or communicate with what you see on the site, or want to put something on the site, by all means, do that through Nick. If you want to come here or talk to us, feel free to do that. And let me take that opportunity right now to say, if you're watching this, then you will see a link at the bottom of the post. If you would like to come on and have a chat with us, all you need is a functional camera and a microphone on your phone or your MacBook or your PC, whatever it is, and we can have a conversation. You can comment on what we're talking about in the moment, or you can also bring something new to the table, because we are live, we are totally interactive, and it is your show. So never feel hesitant about reaching out and getting in touch with us, because we'd love to chat with you, even on a moment's notice, okay? You click on that link, you'll go into a Zoom room, green room, which is sort of like a waiting room. Kevin will make sure that you're all set and ready to go, and you got a camera, and you got a microphone, etc., and poof, we're having a conversation. So please keep that in mind. It is your show, it's entirely interactive, and it is live. We don't do live on tape or record it and edit it later or whatever. It is live in the moment. We can't change what happens. What happens, happens, and it is live. And that's about as clear as I could possibly flip and make it. So, Kevin, okay, before I go there, I was gonna go to the first story off the top. I do want to talk to you quickly. I want to give you the lineup about what's happened on the program today. In about 10 minutes or so, a lady by the name of Crimson Hope is going to be joining us. Unfortunately, her 16-year-old son, Aiden Daniels, was hit and killed on his bicycle in July of 2024. I think it was July 23rd, 2024, at a very, very busy traffic intersection in St. Catharines, which is Glendale and Burley Hill, just not far from where the Penn Center is. And if you know where I'm talking about, you realize how crazy busy it is. And unfortunately, son Aiden Daniels of Crimson Hope was killed at that site on his bicycle. We're going to be chatting with her in just a few minutes. Then, about 20 minutes after that, we're going to chat with Cameron Davidson. Cameron is the dad of a pretty remarkable young man, a 7-year-old Callum. He is a nonverbal autistic boy, and we're having a fundraiser for Callum, and we're going to be talking about autism and the challenges, and of course, about the fundraiser as well that's coming up on Friday of this week. And Joe Hube will be joining us as well. There's another fundraiser. Joe is an interesting cat. We've had him on the program before, and it seems that he has made his mandate, at least going forward until that terrible Ukraine-Russian thing is over, his mandate to raise funds and support the movement to support Ukraine. And there's another Ukraine fundraiser coming up. And we're going to be talking to Joe Hube about that about 1:15 or so today. But let's get to some of the stuff we're talking about. These are the things that people are talking about. I'm going to call this one the picture or pictures of the week. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you are driving what they call a box truck or a box van or whatever, that's what I used to call these things. Now, keep in mind, U-Hauls are not usually operated by professional drivers. They are operated by people that are moving at the end of the month or for some reason relocating their belongings from point A to point B. Now, that is a bridge. It's kind of a bridge. It's not really a great bridge, but it is a bridge. Over Bank Street in the city of Welland, not too far from the Welland Canal. You may be familiar with it. Remember the old swivel bridge? That they don't call it a swing bridge. That's what they call it. The old railroad swing bridge that is in the Welland Canal, right downtown. Well, not far from that is kind of an access road, and right there, the Canal Bank Street area, and where you see that red dot, that red indicator, is there's a bridge there, and that's it. It looks remarkably, if you're familiar with Fort Erie, it looks remarkably similar to the Bowen Road that goes under the railroad bridge there. I think they must have been built by the same people at the same time. Now, you may realize here that the clearance is not high. You don't have to have a very, very tall, you see that sign? What is it, 2.1 meters? Is that what it says, Kevin?
Yeah, that's, you're talking like just over 6 feet here, right?
That's not, I can barely walk under the bridge.
Like 2 meters would be 6 feet, so this is, what, 7 feet?
Yeah. All right, so, and I'm not chuckling at the driver because it must have been a very traumatic thing, but.
Now, Lee.
But.
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Okay, I kind of am chuckling at the driver.
Yeah, no, we're chuckling.
Yeah.
One of the comments that made me laugh, and you could see it here visually, right?
Yeah.
Is that somebody pointed out that
there's a sign.
Yeah, there's a sign there warning people that it's only 2.1 meters, but they noted that it's hard to read because it's been hit so many times.
The sign has been hit so many times.
It's hard to read. And you can see it is. It has been hit.
Oh my God. So you're in a van. You're in a now, like I said before, these are not professional drivers. These are people that rent these vehicles to move stuff from point A to point B. But if you're coming up to this thing and you know you're driving a box van, like, do you not stop and have a look? And the thing is, on the U-Hauls, they even have, do they not have, Kevin, stenciled on the side of the vehicles exactly what clearance you need?
Yeah, absolutely.
To be able to drive these vehicles underneath?
Yeah, they make it very obvious.
Very clear.
I can't find it on the outside, but I think it might be like right there by the driver's door.
Somewhere.
Or maybe even on the inside of the truck. Wouldn't surprise you if it's right there.
There is
on the dashboard.
There is a notification of what your clearance is.
Oh, wonder who this guy is. I just noticed there's a guy in the picture.
Yeah, there is. Like, okay, what do we do now? Kind of hard to back up. Can't go forward. What are we thinking? Years ago, I had numerous occasions to rent trucks like this, or bigger than this even. And the U-Haul company at the time used to have, their slogan used to be an adventure in moving. That actually used to be their slogan, I swear to God. And I had enough adventures with U-Haul trucks that I suggested to them that perhaps they should take that slogan and make it into something else. And they did. I haven't seen that slogan, an adventure in moving, for a long time. Because it always is, I mean, that's kind of like it's a non sequitur. Obviously, it's an adventure in moving. So,
boy, oh boy! I mean, so what they're saying, Lee, is that he hit he got jammed under, and then when the driver reversed out, that's when he pulled that I-beam off. But
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
he can opened that
Yeah.
U-Haul. That's a can opener if I've ever seen one.
And so here's lesson number one: check your clearance before you're going under anything. And if you're looking at a bridge like this, don't go under it at all. Go around somewhere. And number two, once you're in a mess, there should be a flashing message in your mind: do not back up. Just don't do anything. Don't go anywhere. Don't go forward. Don't go backward. Just stay there and wait for the professionals to come and help you out of there. Who pays for this stuff, Kevin?
I don't know. Is this on the municipality now to
I don't know.
fix? Is it CN, CP?
The signs are there. The clearance message is on the truck. Now, I'm assuming that the driver would automatically have insurance for the period of time that they're using the truck, because the company probably wouldn't let them go out if they didn't realize the truck was covered, or the driver was covered, or somebody was insured. Who pays for this? And how much is that? That's a bit of a price tag you got going on there.
Yeah, the person I want to speak to, Lee, is this guy.
This guy. Yeah.
The person that lives there, because they had to have seen it all.
Oh, they've probably seen a few trucks.
Yeah, I'll see if I can pull up some of the comments on this, but
Oh my gosh.
I mean that comment to the fact that you can't read the height sign because it's been hit so many times.
Yeah.
There was another comment that said that I drove through there years ago with my mom, and they had a refrigerator on the back of the truck. And as you know, you're not supposed to lay those down, right? You travel with those upright, and said absolutely just smucked the bridge. So there were a lot of comments on there from people saying that, this happens all the time.
I'm sure it does.
It happens all the time. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
I have to claim culpability in this story from years ago, and I'll try to tell this really, really fast. I was working for a local radio station. We had just bought a brand new station vehicle, brand new station van. We'd had it customized. True story. Swear on a stack of Bibles. We'd had it customized by a company in Kitchener, Ontario. And they cut the roof off, and they extended the thing, and they made it really broadcast ready. It was a media vehicle. Now, at the time, we stored it. We parked it at the bus terminal in Niagara Falls. I think it was off Bridge Street or someplace like that in Niagara Falls. Where they store all the buses at night and stuff. So to keep the van safe, our company contracted to have the van kept inside the bus terminal. Well, I was out doing an event. I was just a young guy. I guess I'd been in the business about 4 or 5 years, whatever it was. Anyway, so I take the van out for an event, and I'm coming back, and the automatic garage door of the bus terminal building in Niagara Falls is going up. Well, being a young and impatient person as I am, and forgetting that the van was now customized and was about 3 feet taller than it was supposed to be, I went under the door, but I didn't quite go under the door. I shared the top off the van. So I know what that feels like. I was not really popular around the radio station the next day, I have to tell you. But that was one of my stories. They didn't fire me, so that was good. Yeah. Gales Gas Bars, thank you so much. I had to tell that story because when I saw that truck, that flashed through my mind.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't get fired, Lee. So congratulations.
I did not get fired. Well, when you're talented and good looking.
Anyway, a loose collar here. Why did anybody dress me for this show today?
I don't know.
Got this hoodie on. Try and zip up and look right.
Just so you know, we do have like the Unabomber there today, Kevin.
Well, I need the hoodie. Yeah, I need the hoodie and the dark glasses.
Gales Gas Bars Limited, thank you very, very much for supporting this program for as long as you have. Almost from it. Well, actually, before its inception, we're now in season 6, episode 6, and Gail says, "There's the Unabomber. Look, put sunglasses on, you got it." Gales might want you to take the hat off, though. Well,
yeah, that's why I tried to pull it back so you could still see the Gales.
supported us from its inception. Jessica Friesen and company have done a fabulous job. 11 service stations, full serve as well as self-serve, 4 convenience stores in the area, and a never-ending supporter of all things Niagara, charities, businesses, and the like. So thank you very, very much for your continued primary sponsor support of this program. Sandra's Home Healthcare also setting the bar for personal service workers and home health care in the Niagara region, from hospital to home, home 24/7, whatever is required by your loved ones in their time of need. And the most important thing here is the word home. I can't stress how important it is for people that are in need of care, that they spend time in their own home, in familiar surroundings, and Sandra's makes this happen at the highest level of quality service. So thank you to Sandra for also continuing to support this program. Verge Insurance Group, be it home, be it health, be it life, be it car or business insurance. Verge Insurance Brokers, located over here on Ontario Street, been in business here in Niagara since 1953. Ooh. So they must be doing something right. So if you have an insurance need, by all means, contact our friends at Verge Insurance Brokers. Ace Alignment, just chat with these folks this week, and they're continuing their sponsorship with us. And man, it's fabulous to have Janice Purdy and her crew on hand here, specializing in just about anything and everything that ails your automobile, specializing, of course, as you might guess by their name, wheel alignments and brakes and suspensions, but all things related to your automobile, regardless of what it is, be it high-performance car, trucks, whatever that might be. That's the place to go. They're located on North Street here in St. Catharines, just off Geneva, behind the Niagara Police Service Station that's located on Welland Avenue. And the guys you want to talk to there are Darren Miller, he's the head mechanic, and senior mechanic Matt Crompton. Those are the two guys that know everything and anything about what you might need to have done to or with your car. And I can't say enough about our most recent sponsor. They've been on board here now for about 4 shows, and it's just so super to have these guys. Mac Outpost, St. Catharines. Basically, it's a one-line promotion item for these guys. Everything Apple. And that pretty much sums everything up. From Steve Jobs on right up to today. Everything Apple that you may be possibly in need of, sales and service and consultation. Those are the guys. Apple authorized reseller and service provider located in St. Catharines on Lake Street. They're in the Dollar Tree Plaza there where Tim Hortons is, in the north end of St. Catharines, across from Don's Lighting. I guess we're promoting Don's Lighting as well. Don, you should be sponsoring the program. Anyway, Mac Outpost, Steve the owner, Derek the head tech. Thank you guys. And we have Crimson Hope joining us on the program right now. And I realize this is kind of a sensitive conversation, but it's an important one. Crimson, hi. How you doing today?
Good. How are you? I'm
good. Are you looking at me? Because I'm looking
I
at
am.
you. Oh, okay.
I'm trying to look at you.
Okay. There you are.
There I am. Hi. How are you?
I'm good. I just wanted to make sure you weren't too distracted. You're okay. You can hear us fine?
Yes, I can. You skipped out on me for a second, but I think we're okay.
All right. Well, hopefully we're skipped back in for the duration here.
Yeah.
First of all, it's less than a year since you lost your son, and those feelings go on forever, and we're so sorry for your loss of Aiden. We really are still to this day.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
It was July of last year that Aiden Daniels was hit while riding his bicycle in the Glendale Avenue, Burley Hill area of St. Catharines. Can you, as painful as it might be, can you walk us through what your knowledge is of what happened that day?
My knowledge is that there was Aiden was coming along Glendale on the opposite side of the street from from the Canadian Tire,
Okay.
coming towards the Penn Center.
Okay.
There were several cars that were stopped for a light, and also some pedestrians crossing Glengarry who had like an advanced screen. They were walking. And the person who hit him, I guess, I don't know all of the details, or I can only disclose so much, but he was trying to cross the street, and the person was turning right onto Glengarry, and they ran him over with their SUV.
So he was going straight through. They were turning right, and then the tragedy. They just met in the intersection.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I'm still waiting for all of the information to be available to me with public records.
You're still waiting,
Yeah.
even now.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, okay. Now, Aiden was on his bicycle. He was on the sidewalk, I understand.
Yes.
Okay. And there's been great debate, ongoing debate, depending on the situation, of where cyclists should be. Should they be on the sidewalk? Should they be on the road? Whatever. Is that a contributing factor, do you think, or did it matter?
I think it's hard. It's tough to say, really, because for
Sure.
one driver to another, like if it were me coming down that road, I kind of would have mentally taken note if I passed any cyclists while I was approaching that intersection, and then I would be automatically thinking of them and looking to my right as I'm going around that corner, checking my blind spot, turning my head, looking at my mirrors, all of that. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but I think those things may have played a factor, but also speed may have played a factor. The bicycle was
Now,
going fast.
Yeah. So we figure that Aiden was going at a fairly good clip as well on his bicycle, correct?
Yeah.
Like he wasn't just
He was
leisurely.
very
I mean,
comfortable.
he was going at a pretty good pace.
That's my understanding.
Yeah. Now, boy, so many questions, and I know they're hard.
You can ask.
No, I
will do it.
know. It was also reported that, and I don't know whether this was a mitigating factor to the extent of his injuries or not, that he was not wearing a bicycle helmet at the time.
He was not wearing a bicycle helmet. And honestly, when we first got the phone call, that was one of the things that was of most concern. And like when we were on our way to the hospital, like the hope that we had was there was no evidence of like head trauma or head injuries. So
Right.
when he made it to the hospital, it was much the same. That was the first report that we got, was
Yeah.
that there was no head trauma. He can still move his toes. Everything seems like it's okay. And we're like, yes, that's a good sign, right?
So this
But
wasn't a case of he would have probably sustained these injuries irrespective of whether he was wearing a helmet or not.
He definitely would have, yeah, in this particular case. But I still would advocate for people wearing their helmets.
Sure. Along those lines, let me segue into this. What message do you have, or why are we having this conversation almost a year after this terrible event happened? Why did you want to speak with us today?
Funny enough, I'm reading a book about grief, because I'm still working through a lot of emotions to do with this. And the portion of the book that I was reading was about how parents sometimes choose to take action on behalf of their children, like planting a garden in their behalf, or Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, going and speaking with high schools and things like that. And I put my book down, and then I had a message from the producer looking to speak with me, actually, in regards to this event. Because I had posted a comment on Niagara 411 a few weeks ago, and I think that's how the connection was made. But the fact that I was reading that book, and it just felt like it was a sign that maybe it was time for me to actually have a discussion. And it just seemed like it was meant to be. So I thought it would be important to come and talk about the important it is to just slow down in general. Like everyone is in such a hurry. We went to go there's a bicycle at the memorial there,
Yeah.
and we went to go and place it back because we took it down for the winter. And even just while we were gathering for that, I can't tell you how many people were speeding, how many people were honking their horns, how many near accidents we saw. Like it's a very dangerous intersection. And I just think that it's important for kids and for drivers and everybody else in between to just realize that 1 second one way or the other can make all the difference in the world, and nothing is that important. Nothing's that important.
And I don't think a more poignant message could be sent, because those of us that have lived in the area for a while realize how, as you mentioned, crazy an intersection that is. People are going in like 4 or 5 different directions at once, at different speeds. There are different lights to look at. There are ramps onto the 406 highway. There's Burley Hill going up into Feulled. And of course, Glendale that goes through to Merritton in one direction and over to Glen Ridge in the other direction. It's the word chaos comes to mind when I think of that
100%.
intersection. And another decision that is important is to where you're going to ride your bicycle. Now, was Aiden on a mission? Did he have to be in that area? Did he, or was it a recreational ride? Do you have any idea why he was there?
What my understanding is, it could be wrong, was that he had finished mowing his grandparents' lawn in Thorold, and he had gotten some money for doing it. And I think he was in a hurry to go down to. I think the money was burning a hole in his pocket, and maybe he wanted to make it to the pen. That's my guess. That's
Okay.
my understanding, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. Well, everybody makes decisions, and we are the recipients of the results of the decisions that we make one way or another, and it's just a terrible coincidental tragedy that these things happen. And one of the things, though, that to go to a message that you were talking about before, at one point in my life, I wanted to apply for and qualify for an enhanced driver's license to give myself an opportunity to drive professionally as opposed to just recreationally. So I took the tests, etc. And one of the things, and I failed the first time. I failed the first test when I took it for an enhanced driver's license, because of the very reason we're talking about now. Because I did not check correctly over my right shoulder when I was making a turn to see if there was anything coming up in bicycle lanes or things of that nature. I didn't check. I thought I checked, but I didn't check properly. And when you're driving a car, irrespective of where the bike is on the sidewalk or whether it's in the bike lane beside wherever it is, those things can come out of nowhere pretty darn fast. And I learned an important lesson. Thank goodness I didn't hit anybody to learn the lesson, but I could have. And it's just such an important message that when you're driving a vehicle, if a vehicle has an altercation with a bicycle, the car wins every time. So it's still up to the car, as far as I'm concerned. Regardless of where that bike is, it's still up to the car to look and know where you're going. That's my only contribution to the conversation.
Ideally, yeah, it would be. And it's like cyclists have always made me nervous too, to be honest with you, long before this happened.
Yeah.
Just because they can be unpredictable, and like you said, they can come out of nowhere. I was driving to the hospital in Hamilton on my way to see him after this happened, and I had 2 kids come down a hill on a side street on their bicycles, and they cut me off. So could you imagine how much of a bigger mess it would have been if I had made impact with those kids? Like how ironic that would have been. It's just it just makes you want to shake people.
Yeah, I hear you. there's a sign that appears mainly out in British Columbia, because when I lived there, it was all over the place. A lot of cyclists out there in the great wilderness. And there's that signs everywhere. Share the road, and I think those are 3 words that we can try to take to heart when we're behind the wheel of a car. Share the road, because you're not the only one that is using it to go someplace. It's very, very, very important. How are you doing, Crimson? You seem like you're doing okay, but my gosh, that's got to be one of the toughest things that any parent can imagine, is losing a child.
Real talk, I've been off work for 5 of the 8 months that since this happened. I tried to go back and I wasn't able to maintain my emotions, because Christmas time was coming up and everything. I'm finding that a lot of the firsts, like everyone says, the firsts are the hardest. So that's definitely been a trend for me. I'm never going to be the same person. I'm changed forever. It's every parent's worst nightmare, but I'm living it every day. And honestly, I do appreciate the opportunity to come on and even for a minute, like, give a platform for other people to see, like, and to hear what it feels like on the other side of it. You know what I mean? And I encourage, like, I've had parents reach out to me who've lost their kids in the area, and I encourage people to do the same with me. Like, if you need to talk, probably the support is the biggest thing out of everything that's getting me through.
Well, whatever we can do, I'm glad we have been able to do it. People that are outside looking in always feel very helpless when we're talking with someone, to someone like you, because there's nothing we can really do or say that makes it any better.
No.
But I hope you're okay, and if you need to reach out or whatever, you know that you know where to find us. Okay.
Thank you very much. I'm always here too if you ever want to have another conversation about it too.
You know, going forward, you mentioned that grief is a process, and you'll go through the different stages of it as the years go by. And stay in touch with us and let us know how you're doing. Let us follow you on your journey if we can.
Absolutely, I'd be happy to.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Take care.
Appreciate it. Has to be a tough conversation to have, Kevin. I have 2 sons. They're men now. You have 2 young children, and we never know what life holds for us. But we hope it doesn't hold tragedy like that at any time in our future.
Yeah, as you know, Lee, our kids go to school right there. And I passed that memorial, that bike, and you're right, they took it down for the winter, and I was wondering, and they just reinstalled it. Those are some of the photos that we were sharing.
Right.
Was a bit of a family ceremony that they did in honor of Aiden. And I saw that it was back this week, and then saw her comments and said, you know what, that one's always stuck with me. 16-year-old boy right there, very busy intersection, life cut way too short, and it can be prevented. That's the thing. And Lee,
that's the... Sorry, Kevin, go ahead.
No, I mean, we can go on our high horse for a minute here. I mean, for God's sake, if you see a cyclist, just wait. I mean, in this case, I don't think the motorist saw the cyclist, but the number of times I see motorists, especially on some of our back streets, all the louths, and they're squeezing by, 2 cars and a cyclist at 80 kilometers an hour, and I just can't understand why you wouldn't just wait until you can completely move over to the other lane. Like, what is your rush?
Exactly. I've used this expression when my wife has been in the car, and others as well, from time to time, and I'm observing what's going on. And I'm not the most perfect driver. We've all made mistakes driving vehicles, and luckily, if we're all lucky, those mistakes don't result in tragedy. Occasionally they do. Thankfully, not while I was behind the wheel, but you never know there. But as they say, for the grace of God go I. But you don't know. But don't. The thing that I've used, the expression that I've used so often is people seem to be in a hurry to go nowhere. Like, so you're going to shop at the Bay. Well, maybe not now that the Bay is closing, but you're going to the Penn Center, or you're going to someplace, you're going to Katz to eat, you're going up Burley Hill to Thorold. It doesn't matter where the hell it is you're going. Why are you in such a damn hurry? Why is everybody in a hurry to go nowhere? It annoys the hell out of me. Just take your time, and you're not going to spend any more time if you take an extra 10 seconds to look around you.
Now, Lee, I know that you cycle, and if you've ever cycled on the road, I mean, a car might be passing you in a very safe manner, but you know what it's like. A car buzzes by you 80 kilometers an hour, and even if there's a 3 or 4 foot buffer, that feels like they're right next to you. It feels like the mirror nearly clipped your handlebar, and that's all it would take.
When we were talking with Crimson, I did mention that it is really on the onus of the driver. But that being said, there is a responsibility to cyclists as well to understand that when somebody is operating a car or a truck, they have a lot of things that they're looking at on the road. They have a lot of things that they're thinking about at any given moment in time. And if you're sliding up beside them on a bicycle, it's quite conceivable that they're not going to see you. So there is a responsibility on behalf of the cyclist to pay attention to their surroundings as well. So it is, pardon this horrible pun, a two-way street here.
Yeah, but R.I.P. to Aiden. You know, it always just kills me when I see, a 16-year-old boy lost his life far too early, and
you wonder what that
preventable, but for so many reasons that we've outlined.
And you wonder what that 16-year-old could have contributed to the world that he was living in. Moving on, Cameron Davidson is the dad of 7-year-old Callum. Callum is a nonverbal autistic child, 7 years old, and Cameron joins us to talk about him as well as a fundraiser that's coming up for Cal. Cameron, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you and see you just great, so thanks for being here, and I'm assuming you can do the same on the other way.
Yep, all good.
Okay, so autism is a big conversation because there are so many different levels. There is such a wide, as they refer to, spectrum on which people that suffer from autism are plotted, which makes it perhaps one of the most complicated afflictions that we have out there today. Tell us about Callum.
Yeah, so Callum, he's an energetic little boy. He's actually very social. I know a lot of people think of people on the spectrum sometimes are kind of averse to, social interactions or that sort of thing. But Callum, he loves interacting with people. He loves getting right up in your face. He really enjoys playing around, like physical play. So going on the swings. He loves swimming, running around. In a lot of ways, he's just like any typical kid. But then he does have his own challenges, obviously, with being nonverbal that present certain challenges with him communicating his needs to us and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But he's just a ball of light. Like everywhere he goes, he makes people happy. He's just the best little guy.
At what age was he diagnosed, Cameron?
So he was about 3.5 years old when he was diagnosed. So Callum was our first child. We have a daughter, Layla, as well now, who's 3 herself. Or sorry, just turned 4. I'm all over the place. I'm all nervous. So we turned 4 this year. But yeah.
And she's
so
okay?
Callum, yes, she's great. She talks enough for both of them. They get along together great. He's actually really, since he started therapy last month, he's really come around to playing with her more and interacting with her. And it's just awesome to see. She's a little rough with him, and he just takes it and kind of rolls around with her. But yeah, so he was our first child, and so we thought maybe something was a little bit off at first, but like I said, for a baby, like he was typical in most ways. Like there wasn't a lot of signs for us. Right. He would stim a lot, like shake his arms and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But it was once he was like around 3 years old, we were starting to get obviously a bit more concerned that he was not being verbal. But even then, my wife's father, like he didn't speak until he was about that age either. So we thought maybe it was just a phase and he was just,
Sure.
taking a little bit longer to develop. All kids go at their own pace and that sort of thing. But then, yeah, it was right around when he was 3.5, he was diagnosed, and that kind of changed things for us, because at that point, we were hoping, maybe it was just a phase and it's just like growing. But then when you get the diagnosis, it becomes very real. Like, okay, this is a permanent thing, right? And that was the hardest part for us, and trying to understand, okay, now what is his life going to look like as he gets older?
Yeah.
And that's right. And the possibility of him maybe never being verbal.
It opens up a whole different world for your parenting responsibilities going forward. Is okay, now how do we go about this? And over the years, autism has been in the public awareness for quite some time because of the different kinds, as I mentioned before. And the reason I know something about it is I've talked to a lot of people in that world, as well as the fact that I have a grandson that is on the spectrum as well. He's rather high functioning, as the phrase goes, but therein lies the problem with support and funding and care and therapy, etc. What challenges are you facing? How do you make out when it comes to, and I know you're having a fundraiser, which we're going to talk about, but I mean, funding the care of a child like Callum must be quite a challenge for a family.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And the good thing is that there are a lot of services available. So like prior to him starting school, we had a ton of support from the Niagara Children's Center and from Bethesda that helped with giving him speech therapy and preparing him to go to school and that sort of thing. But challenges with that was Callum was born in 2018. So when he was doing a lot of this, it was during the pandemic and everybody had their face covered, which added kind of another challenge to, if you're doing speech therapy and you can't see anybody's mouths moving,
right.
Obviously it makes it a lot more difficult, right? And then, so once he got to school, we've been extremely lucky that the school that he went to, Princess Elizabeth in Welland, has been awesome in kindergarten and now in grade 1. The supports that he has from his EAs and his teachers has just been awesome. But in terms of trying to get funding from the Ontario Autism Program, it's severely delayed. There's the last I heard, it was about 70,000 families that were waiting for funding. It's years in the backlog. So Callum was diagnosed in 2021, and they're just, I believe now they're starting to provide funding for kids that were registered in 2020. So at that rate, it was basically the reason for the fundraiser is we can't really wait any longer to get him into this ABA therapy, which is what we've been told was the best thing for him from Bethesda and the Children's Center and all the professionals that we talked to.
And this is out of pocket expenses for you.
Yeah, and this is out of pocket. So he does qualify for funding from the Ontario Autism Program, but because of the backlog, he's not receiving anything yet. And when he was diagnosed, I was told if he doesn't speak by the time he's 8, he more than likely will never speak.
Wow.
So
this is something we got to get done.
Yeah, exactly. It's got to a point where we can't wait for the government funding. We have to do whatever we can to get him this support now, and that's the reason for this fundraiser.
Well, then let's just tell everybody about the fundraiser. What's going on? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so Friday night, this Friday the 28th at 7:30 at the Grantham Lions Club at St. Catharines, we're doing a fundraiser. We called it Coming Together for Callum. We're running it just like a stag and doe, basically. We're going to have at least 70 raffle prizes. We have 5 grand prizes, including Platinum Raptors tickets, 50-inch TV, signed Arbor Jackeye Canadians jersey, Jays tickets, and a 2-night stay at the Hilton as well as a grand prize. We're going to have games, toonie toss, and selling drinks and all that kind of fun stuff that you would expect.
Food and beverages and stuff like that?
Exactly, yeah.
All right, and that's the Grantham Lions Club. That's on Niagara Street in the North End, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, that's this Friday, 7:30 p.m. We can purchase tickets are what, $5?
Yep, $5 a ticket.
And we can buy them at the door?
You can buy them at the door. You can also buy tickets through e-transfer. You can also make donations if you just want to do that as well to Callum, KRD 2018 at gmail.com.
All right, so if you want to have a fun Friday night, and who doesn't, Grantham Lions Club on Niagara Street in St. Catharines is a place to go. Cameron Davidson, thank you very much for being here. All the best with the fundraiser. All our thoughts and best wishes for Callum and you and the family going forward. It'll be a lifelong journey for you, I know, but good luck with all of that.
Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Yeah, it's crazy, Lee, the paths that life leads you down.
Oh, it sure is.
I don't know if you had those moments when you were raising your children. I know you mentioned that I think one of your grandchildren is living on the spectrum.
Yeah.
And honestly, when both our daughter and our son, Ayla and Alex, were born, I had a moment pretty early on with both of them going, I wonder where life's going to take us. Like, what complications, what hurdles are you going to have to overcome where all of a sudden now that's going to be my focus in life? Like, Cam is just there, nice, married, let's have a family.
Yeah.
And now a lot of his focus is on raising Callum and trying to get the therapy that he needs. And I just find life very interesting in that way.
It is interesting, as they say. I used to say when somebody said, well, that's interesting, I used to kind of think to myself, please, somebody protect me from interesting times. I don't really like interesting times all that much, because usually the interesting part is really not a positive thing. But families have a way of rising to whatever challenges, because you have no choice. You have to rise to the challenge. You have to do it. You make things happen. You make your adjustments. You make your life what it is, because you got to play the cards you're dealt, as they say. And sometimes it's not an easy thing. And anybody that has a family, anybody that's had children, has their own challenges. They don't have the same challenges, but they're always there, one way or the other. Ain't nothing perfect, but our best wishes go out to Cameron and his son Callum and the family. And anybody that is in that situation or similar situations, it's just, as you say, Kevin, you just wonder sometimes, are we going to be okay? What is life going to throw at us? And they say life doesn't throw too much at you that you can't handle. Well, hopefully that's the case with everybody watching the show here today.
Yeah, Lee, I want to get to our sponsors again, because, of course, they keep this machine moving every couple of weeks.
Indeed.
But boy, oh boy, there were some tragic stories and some sensationally tragic stories in Niagara and St. Catharines over the last couple of days that I know was covered thoroughly on Niagara 411. A lot of the comments speak to the story, but we got the Audi hijack that kills a 31-year-old man, and then a guy shot behind the wheel. We
would be remiss if we didn't touch on those, and I do, as Kevin mentioned, want to run by our sponsors. Once again, Niagara is better for having Gales Gas Bars as a company and a community partner. Make no mistake about it. And as is this program, as we are in this season 6, episode 6 of Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry, owned and operated for about 60 years now in Niagara, serving the Niagara region with 11 self-serve as well as full-serve gas bars, as well as 4 convenience locations, Bob's Fast and Fresh, Gales Gas Bars. Thank you so much for continuing your headline sponsor of this program. Sandra's Home Healthware, Sandra D'Alessandro, been in business now for like 20 years already. Crazy. Setting the standard for home health care. And if COVID taught us anything over the 4 years that we had to deal with all of the ramifications of that disease, it's how important care of our loved ones is in healthcare facilities, and in particular home healthcare, and setting the bar with the new regulations and accreditations that are in place in Ontario for healthcare workers. Sandra and Sandra's Home Healthcare Services sets the bar. They are the gold standard for home healthcare in Niagara.
You know what, Lee? I just get to interject. Tip of the cap to Mel, you can really taste the rum today.
You're I didn't get that. I have just club soda. I just have club soda. How'd you get there, bro? Verge Insurance Group, in business since 1953, here in St. Catharines, over on Ontario Street. Home, auto, life, business insurance for whatever you need. Ace alignment for whatever your automobile might need. Wheel alignments and brakes and suspension and vehicle inspections and front end repairs, and be it a sports car, high performance, or just a family sedan or a van or a truck, they'll look after you. North Street, just off Geneva Street, behind the Niagara Regional Police Station here in St. Catharines. And also Mac Outpost on Lake Streets in the Dollar Tree Plaza, where Tim Hortons is, there just across from Don's Lighting in the north end of St. Catharines, in that mall, for everything Apple. That is the place to go. Absolutely guaranteed. Sales, service, training, advice. Those are the guys. Sean, the owner, Derek, the head tech. They got it nailed as far as everything Apple in Niagara. And Kevin, of course, at WeeStream, you came off a pretty big week, and have another one coming up with the Volleyball Association. You're in the thick of it now.
Absolutely. Reconnected with our friends at Ontario Volleyball Association, and they brought us in. And Lee, it's so nice to have some of these work environments where we have a front row seat to these incredible athletes. We were doing the top 8 boys and girls 17U volleyball teams in their season finale championship up at the Haber Center in Burlington, Saturday and Sunday. And I mean, these athletes are incredible. They're high flyers, they're diving, they're jump serving.
I was watching some of it. It was pretty good action.
Yeah, we got to stream the whole thing. Here, I'll pull up a little bit of it.
All right.
Let's see here what we got. So here's our friends at Ontario Volleyball. There they are right there. And I mean, there's some stills from the weekend. And this coming weekend, we're going to be at the Niagara Falls Convention Center. Last weekend, the one that we're showing here, this was 17U. The top 8 18U teams are going to be in action at the Convention Center Saturday and Sunday, and we'll be there streaming for Ontario Volleyball once again. But there you go. There's some of our stream right there. These are the boys warming up. And I'll tell you, if you've ever been in a gym during a volleyball warm-up, you have to have eyes at the back of your head.
I was going to say, you'd be dodging a lot of balls.
Oh, absolutely. I took one right off the side of the cranium, and it was my fault. You know, it's like, nope, that's my fault. I was standing in the wrong place. But yeah, I was very, very happy to be there. And here, I'll see if I can fast forward to some of the actual action. Well, of course, every time I fast forward, there you go. It's like a timeout.
Well, that's always the way with technology, isn't it?
So you can kind of see them there. But we did do some nice... It wasn't all this. This is the camera shots we tried to show during the gameplay.
And you're going to be streaming this over, excuse me, on Niagara 411 as well over the coming weekend.
No, this is just going to be available for the OVA Facebook page.
Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of where I wanted to go with that as well.
Yeah,
so people know where to find it.
Look at that jump serve. Just crazy.
Ontario Volleyball Association, on their page, all of their action will be streamed over the weekend. What are the hours that you're going to be playing?
Oh, gosh, it's like 9 a.m. until
like
6 or 7 p.m.
All day
pretty
long.
much all day. Pretty much all day.
Cool.
Lee, let's start with this crazy one that began kind of the northeast end of Niagara and ended tragically at Wellington, Ontario.
So this is one of the stories that just about everybody that I've come in contact with over the last while has been talking about. One of a couple that we're going to touch on. And so a fellow is in his car with a passenger, and they pull into this commercial plaza, obviously for a very short period of time, because the driver gets out of the car, leaves the car running, the passenger in the car, goes into the store, and in that window, somebody gets into the car in the driver's seat, scares the passenger into getting out of the car, and steals the vehicle and takes off at what is ostensibly a high rate of speed. Well, as chance would have it, we talked earlier about chance occasions changing someone's life. Well, this vehicle flies through, or attempts to fly through, an intersection at Wellington, Ontario Street, also one of the busiest intersections now in the region. And unfortunately, there happened to be a 31-year-old man driving his car innocently through the intersection, and those two vehicles collide. The man in the Chevy is seriously injured, taken to hospital where he is pronounced dead. The car thief takes off on foot. The investigation remains active as they hunt for this fellow. So,
and then Lee, on Friday, in between the accident and Friday, they identified a suspect as Matthew Morris.
yes,
And they put his identity out there, and then you can see the update on Niagara 411 from just last Friday that, in fact, Matthew Morris turned himself in.
right, he did turn himself in, yeah.
But
That was
insane.
just a day or two ago.
yeah, and I'm waiting to hear any news about, a lot of grumblings I've heard from a lot of people through socials and texts, what have you, that says, yeah, I know the guy. People saying, I played on this guy's team. I was an elementary school friend.
What, the fellow that
With the deceased.
passed,
And that's
yeah.
it's unfortunate that Matthew Morris's name is out there. And not to say that the name of the deceased, but it's unfortunate that we can't focus more on the life of the 31-year-old.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this is
I guess it is the nature.
stuff.
Yeah, I guess it is the nature of the beast when it comes to these stories that you focus on the perpetrator, because that's the person you're looking for. That's the person you want to face justice at some point in time. But this young man that died in that just happenstance tragedy, again, makes you question life itself sometimes. How and why are you in the right place at the wrong time, or the wrong place at the right time, depending on how you want to put it. It's unconscionable. If you try to make sense of it, you can't make sense of it. It is just nonsensical things that happen. And I guess the background story at some point in time of Matthew Morris will eventually come out as he continues to go through the justice system to what end he is destined to experience. And the other one that has caught people's attention, of course, is on Carleton Street, not far from where Carleton meets Geneva. Again, Kevin, we've had some crazy things happen at crazy intersections, crazy busy places. And my wife and I were driving through there the other day, and I think, this Carleton, Geneva, Dunlop, Service Road, Fairview Mall area is still, in my mind, one of the worst traffic snafu intersections in the entire city of St. Catharines. It's just goofy. And it's exacerbated, of course, because you've got the Queen Elizabeth Highway overpass there, which sort of gets in the way of everything. But not very far from Geneva Street, on Carleton Street, a man was shot twice in his vehicle, and he died pretty much at the scene, as far as I know.
Yeah, I had it right kind of in this area. Lee.
Yeah, right there, yeah.
Might have been, it might have been right here by this hydrant.
What was it, Arthol Street? Is that the name of the street? Alphonse? Arthol? Something?
Yeah, there's a Monroe. Yeah, there's that Athlone place.
Athlone, that's the one, Athlone.
Yeah.
I just was mispronouncing it, yeah. So it was on Carleton Street, right there at Athlone Place. Now, of course, there's always a conjecture, drug deals, criminal activity, whatever, who knows, but just one of those stories that you don't expect to happen in your own backyard. You just don't expect that to happen. You expect those things to happen in LA or New York City or Philadelphia or Montreal, Toronto, whatever. You don't expect them to necessarily happen in your own
Yeah, and I mean, Lee,
backyard.
the driver was killed in broad daylight while behind the wheel of his car. That's,
Yeah.
I mean, was he shot at by a passing motorist? Would have had to have been, right? The shooters would have also had to have been in a car. Like, I don't think they're hiding in the bushes.
Or they got out of a car and then got back
Ambushed
in the
the
car.
guy?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, you're right. They might have cut in front of him or something because
was it a drive-by or just a crime of opportunity? It's highly unlikely that it was just a haphazard. Somebody gets out and shoots somebody for the fun of it. I mean, there was obviously.
I mean, I know it was.
It had to be targeted.
It had to be targeted,
Had to be.
but to target in that way, like a classic drive-by, you don't wait for him to,
I know.
well, how passe is this? But go outside to get the mail in the morning or get the newspaper. It's like, oh, that's when we ambushed him.
I know.
But no, we got him in the vehicle and he was still driving, which of course puts every other motorist and pedestrian right in the way.
And
were there stray bullets here? It's crazy.
Yeah, we don't know the details yet. And the other kind of goofy story, in a bad kind of way, was this one. So there's a report. Police receive a report that there are a couple of guys in masks climbing up a balcony or climbing up to a balcony of a rather affluent house or a house in an affluent neighborhood in Grimsby. While at the same time, parked outside the house is a fairly expensive car, a BMW automobile, parked outside on the street. So police respond to this suspicious intruder type call. And once again, this is daytime. This isn't happening in the middle of the night. So the cops do what they call a routine traffic stop, which means they block in as far as I can discern it, they block the BMW, the car that's parked out front, so that it can't move. And inside that vehicle is a woman. They eventually arrest the woman, and the two Spider-Men that are trying to climb up the balcony there, they take off on foot. They're eventually corralled and taken into custody. But at the end of the day, the police service has picked up like fentanyl and cash and other drugs and firearms, cocaine.
Yeah, I mean, look at all the stuff they picked up. 2 keys of
cocaine, 20 suspected fentanyl tablets, 60 grams of fentanyl, $5,000 worth of Canadian cash. So, and these people weren't from the area either. They were from the GTA somewhere. So why this house? Again, was this well, they had some jewelry on them too, did they not, Kev?
A large quantity of jewelry valued at more than $100,000. So I wonder if these guys are tied to any of those smash and grabs.
Again, yeah. But that's the other, and those are the other stories that have people talking, are all these teenagers that apparently are operating like some sort of controlled gang, going to malls and smashing and grabbing stuff out of jewelry stores. It's happened in St. Catharines here at the Pen, as well as other places all over southern Ontario. And one wonders if there isn't some sort of brain trust at the head of this so-called teenage theft ring that are hiring underage people to break into these stores and steal things because, well, they're not going to get charged as an adult, Like back in this sounds like something out of like the 1950s or 60s. Gang violence, gang thefts. Who's running these things? Somebody has to be running them.
Absolutely. Yeah,
I mean, there isn't a 15-year-old out there figuring this stuff out.
No, I don't think so. Lee, I want to get to this story as well. We didn't really have a chance to talk too much about it, but a user here, William Diaz, posted this. Now, I think it's in Niagara Falls. Now, how long do you have to wait at a signaled crossing
That's a train crossing, right?
with the arms down before you decide
Before you
to,
go through.
Before you go through.
Well, you got me. I don't know. This is a new story for me. You're just putting it up there. So I have, as George Costanza would say from Seinfeld, I am without speech. I don't know.
I'm assuming this is in the falls somewhere. I mean, they have a lot of level ground crossings.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, it's one car after another after another. Would you do this?
And what, eventually cross?
I mean, there you go. That guy's going through.
Well, it makes you wonder. I mean, eventually, wouldn't you look both ways and wait and look both ways and wait and then think, like, there should have been some sort of... Now, is it CN that is now the Canadian company that controls all of these crossings and tracks?
I don't know. I'm always...
I think it must be. I think it's still CN.
Here goes another guy.
Well,
And
eventually...
I don't know. I don't know if I would...
Eventually, you're going to go through, aren't you? There has
I
to
don't
be
know.
some sort of malfunction somewhere. See, now back in the old days, that would happen if there was a train parked for some reason, stopped for some reason, up or down the tracks in one way or the other, and they'd gone far enough to trip the security system, but then stopped, and you end up with this sort of Mexican standoff thing where you don't know what to do. But I don't know whether that's the same system as today because they've changed the technology over the years. I don't know how it operates now. Yeah, look at the cars. Look at the cars lined up there.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting pretty long, which means obviously the wigwags, as I call them, the arms have been down for a long time, but with no train.
And we've seen no explanation of this?
No, not really. Didn't get a lot of attention, but he did flag it for 411, which is how I came to see
That's
it.
a good pic. That's a great picture because it does beg the question: how long do you wait? And wouldn't you hope that at some point in time someone would notify the authorities, like the police or whatever, saying, "Hey, we had a problem at a rail crossing on such and such a street," and there should be somebody there directing traffic or trying to figure out what to do with that security, because it's not. I mean, it's no small thing to cross a railroad track with that kind of situation in play. Interesting. Coming up at 1:30 today, we have a first-time band coming on the program, the J Diem Band, as in Carpe Diem, like seize the day. J Diem Band, interesting name. They're going to be performing a video for us, a song with video attached, of course, called Fallen Soldiers, and it's their tribute to service workers and military personnel suffering from PTSD. And just thought I'd mention the fact that they're going to be coming up to play us off the stage just before 1:30 today, just before the show ends.
Lee, sorry, I know we're going to get to Joe here in a minute or so, talk about raising some more money for Ukrainian Relief, and you want to talk about being without speech. I don't think we really need to comment on this video. Drop the kids off at school, 9 a.m. on a Monday morning or whatever it was last week.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to pull out my camera because I wasn't sure what I was seeing.
A rather leggy blonde person struggling to cross the street.
This is 9:15 a.m.
9:15. Oh my. This looks like a person in distress, does it not?
It absolutely does, yeah.
Oh my heavens.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about I am without speech. I only showed this to a couple of people and really didn't preface it with just, hey, take a look at this.
There are interesting people that we come across in our world every single day. And I guess that's what makes the world go round. Perhaps there should have been some sort of a spike heel walking lesson involved in this person's history somewhere. Wouldn't she be better off wearing sandals or flats?
I think she is an assumption, Lee.
Well, that's true. Well,
We have to go with a they on this one.
well, perhaps. But in these days of lost pronouns, we can't assume that
It was
they
definitely
don't want to
a
be referred to as she either.
herky-jerky gait, to say the least.
That's a very that kind of reminds me of a Monty Python sketch, The School of Funny Walks. John Cleese
Cleese, yeah.
would probably
Oh, God.
Sorry, we don't mean to make fun of someone in distress, but I guess kind of we do. Because
Yeah.
you have to every now and then you gotta have a laugh. Not everything is serious, but that person hopefully survived the day, whatever he or she or they were up to. That's a tough walk at 9 o'clock in the morning, Kevin.
It most certainly is. It caught me by surprise, and that's why I had to pull my camera out. We got Joe ready to go, and I will let you know that things out on the farm in the spin class right now. Internet connections aren't the best, but I think we got Joe. So let's bring him onto the show.
Joe Hube. There he is.
Hi,
Hey,
Lee.
Joe. Welcome
Hi,
back
Kevin.
to
How are you?
Welcome back to the show.
Good. Can you hear me okay?
I can. You're a little fuzzy. You're a little fuzzy and out of focus, but I can hear you.
Okay. How do we deal with that? Closer?
No, you're
further away? What do you
good.
think?
You're fine. Just stay in one spot. Don't weave around, or you'll strobe us to death.
Okay, great.
So
we're in a steel-clad horse barn. Used to be a horse barn that's been converted into a private spin studio up here in Beamsville. And we're using it as a fundraiser.
a private
Private,
spin studio.
exclusive.
What is a private spin studio?
Well, during COVID, the gyms were closed, and part of a Niagara Freewheelers chapter in Beamsville.
Yeah.
A bunch of us got together, and my friend Bill, who owns the farm, he said we should set up a spin studio for the winter months in his old horse barn that wasn't being used.
Okay.
So 20 of us bought spin bikes. Bill and his wife we all cleaned up the place, and a whole lot of work later. It's the world's best horse barn spin studio.
It looks great.
So, it's fabulous. It's very fabulous. So we're using it again the fourth time as a fundraiser for Ukrainian Relief, and it's fun. So we're here to talk about the event this weekend on Saturday and Sunday.
Indeed.
Spin classes, line dancing, and yoga, all on Saturday and Sunday.
All right. What are the? Is this like just a drop-in thing? People can just drop in.
We're selling tickets on Eventbrite. If people Google "Spin for Ukrainian Relief 2025," they'll find us there, and people sign up for classes. Everything's timed, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
All the instructors are all volunteers, and all proceeds go to Ukrainian Relief charities.
And exactly where are you again? I know you're in a horse barn, but exactly where?
Beamsville
Yeah.
on Walker Road, 3754 Walker Road.
Okay. And what are the tickets cost for a class or whatever?
$25 per class.
Okay.
As I said, folks will have the option to sign up for any time they want on Saturday or Sunday
Okay.
in the morning.
This is a pretty novel concept.
It's a very novel concept.
Yeah, when your friend converted this old barn into a spin studio, was it busy all the time? I mean, it looks like you got quite a number of cycles going on in there.
Yeah, so at one point during COVID, and you'll see they're all quite spaced out, which was a nod to the pandemic at the time. But yeah, there were 20 stationary bikes here.
Mm-hmm.
They're all first class bikes, and during the shutdowns, I mean, they were well used. And Bill and his wife put on classes here, and
That's
other
great.
volunteers and stuff. And this is all, as I said, inspired by cyclists who were looking forward to having no gyms open and no outdoor cycling at the time. So no, it's a very unique setup.
Now
and Bill and his wife are
I'm sure that there are probably regular customers or regular users of this area that are going to be there this weekend out in full force. I have a feeling you're probably going to have quite a few people that come on a regular basis that are going to support you this weekend.
Absolutely. No, we've done pretty well at selling tickets. I'm very happy. As I mentioned, this is our fourth rendition of this very unique event, and it's gained popularity. It's gained a bit of a following. We're always happy to meet more friends and people that care about Ukraine. So we're always trying to expand our offering. As I said, line dancing for beginners and yoga. I'm trying to have something for the whole family.
I don't think I've heard anybody promote line dancing for about 30 years.
For beginners.
Like,
it's back in Beamsville.
Okay. Okay. Now, this is sort of the last time we chatted with you. You were talking about the Niagara Sunflower Festival. Does this sort of fall under that whole kind of umbrella of what you're attempting to do for Ukrainian Relief? Is it all sort of rolled in together?
Absolutely. So just to correct, the last time we spoke was a concert we were putting on at Christmas time-ish in Beamsville. But yeah, so the thing that holds it all together, I guess, is the Sunflower Festival. That was our first idea.
Okay.
Once the war started in February of 2022, but then Bill and his wife came up with this brainstorm of using this facility, which already exists. So that was cool. But yeah, so this is our 13th fundraising event since the war started. We've raised more than $65,000 at this point.
More than how much?
For Ukrainian relief charities.
How much?
More than 65,000 over the last three years. So we're very happy about that.
Wow.
And we have lots of dedicated volunteers who also, like us, have a real heart and care about the situation in Ukraine. And they're happy to help us with all of our interesting ideas.
Now, do you have
this is just one of them.
That's awesome. 65,000 for a small group. That's really commendable. That's pretty awesome. Now, but you have to help me out here a little bit. You yourself are not Ukrainian, are you?
No.
Okay.
No.
But where did this come from?
None of our group is.
Okay. So where did the motivation come from?
When the war started, my friend Bill and I were complaining about the world and just getting so upsetting each other and talking about what was happening here and how just the disaster that we could foresee coming and how illegal and immoral and everything else. So we thought, well, we can bitch and whine or we can try and do something. And we came up with this notion that we would try fundraising in a couple different ways, not knowing how far it would take us and not having any experience at that point about any of this fundraising or anything along the line. Right. So it's been a great learning experience and a great expansion. And it's been a great thrill because we've met lots of lovely Ukrainian Canadians.
I'll bet.
That's been, and a number of those new friends are very supportive of our events and will be coming out and we're always happy to see these folks. They're beautiful, very talented. Wonderful.
I have to ask you, Joe, how do you go about dispersing these funds as you raise the money? How do you make sure the money goes to where you want it to go, or where do you want it to go, and where does it go, and like that? Yeah. You know what I'm asking?
So one of our sponsors, our main sponsor, is BCU Financial, which is a Ukrainian Canadian credit union, all over Ontario.
Okay.
And this is very simple for us because we give the money to BCU Foundation, and BCU Foundation has zero overhead because everyone in my experience, everyone I've met, is first generation Ukrainian Canadian at the credit union. So all these people have connections directly to Ukraine.
Okay.
These people have networks that know exactly what is needed in a humanitarian way And this foundation is very, very large. It has lots of money and lots of contributors, but we're confident there is no overhead, and that this is the most efficient way of getting funds to the important work that's being done.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm sure people are interested in hearing about that too, because it makes people feel a little bit more confident and secure in supporting fundraisers like this, to know exactly how that money is being distributed. And that's really cool.
Yeah.
So
I would encourage people. To look up BCU Financial and their foundation if they're interested in donating. As I said, in a very efficient way, outside of us. But we're always happy to have people at our events.
Thanks, Joe, for joining us. Good luck with the event. It's really a cool and unique way and a fun way to raise some money for a great cause, and especially now when the situation over there is tenuous at best. So have a successful weekend, and thanks for being here.
Thank you for your time, Lee.
Cheers.
Thank you, Kevin. Really appreciate all your help. It's great, guys. We'll see you soon.
Hey,
we'll
bet.
be back.
I'm sure you will. and we'll welcome you with open arms. Thanks. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Before we say so long, thank you again to Gales Gas Bars, Sandra's Home Healthcare, Virgin Insurance, Ace Alignment, and Mac Outpost for supporting this program. Couldn't do it without you. And there's the new Sterry business. I'm going into the construction cone business. Boy, there are a lot of those out on St. Paul Street right now. So I'm assuming that we're going to have some street torn up out there in the not too distant future, Kevin.
Yeah, that they're doing some streetscaping along St. Paul, and I know that the finished product is going to be very beautiful.
Yeah. And again, Kevin, Jack, co-founder with Brandon Scram of WeeStreem. Glad to have you back on doing the Ontario Volleyball Association stuff. That looks like just great stuff. That's coming up again this weekend at the Convention Center in Niagara Falls, right?
Yeah, very much so. And if you want to come down, I think it's free entry. So if you got somebody involved in volleyball, or you just want to see some of the incredible athletes that we have here in Ontario, just slide by the Convention Center anytime Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, great sport. Great sport to watch. It's some talented people out there, too. Also, thank you to Fiddler's Poorhouse here at 149 St. Paul Street. Love to be here every couple of weeks. We thank them for their hospitality. We kind of upset them a little bit by putting this very exotic set together. But it's a pleasure to be here. So come on in and join the folks at Fiddler's for some nice food and fellowship whenever you feel the need. Also to our guest today, Crimson Hope, mom of 16-year-old Aiden Daniels, who was hit and killed on his bicycle just a little under a year ago here in St. Catharines. Thank you to Crimson for sharing your story and your thoughts, and again keeping that message alive to be careful out there, no matter whether you're cycling, driving, walking, whatever. Just be careful and be aware. Cameron Davidson, dad of 7-year-old Callum, nonverbal, autistic young man who they're having a fundraiser for at the Grantham Lions Club this Friday night on Niagara Street in St. Catharines. Thank you for being here, and good luck to Callum and all of you in that family. Joe Hube, of course, Ukrainian Relief. Always a fun guy to talk to. No shortage of energy there, that is for sure. Coming up to play us off the stage, the J. Diem Band. Fallen Soldiers is the song and the video, and it's to commemorate and recognize fallen soldiers and those suffering from PTSD after their service as well. So a great message, a great theme, and the J. Diem Band is going to play us off right now. Man, time has flown. Kevin, always a pleasure. Have yourself a great weekend.
That's alright. Been in my bed since yesterday.